Hey, stick around. I might be able to teach you a few things.
Oh, hi everyone, and welcome to the Scratticus Academy. It's Monday again, so we are back in Dunera. First of all, please check out all of the links coming up in chat right now. Also, a super special thank you to our sponsors, who we couldn't do this without, in the form of Bird in the Storm, and also Mage Hand Press. One quick thing as well before we get started is that we were donated another everyone a trinket for by Paladin Hulk last week on Friday, so that will be in this session as well as the others. Wait, what? I'm going to look at that in a second, but otherwise I'm going to get really confused. But thank you. I don't know what it was, but thank you. Also, happy Pride Month. Happy Pride Month and happy Women in Tabletop Gaming Month, because share the love. Otherwise, I'm going to let's go around and say hi to everyone. So, Jagon's Gold, take it away.
Hello, I am Jagon's Gold. You can call me Jay. I play Paula, the librarian and dancer. Also, tonight I'm repping some Scratticus Academy merch. I can tell you right now, it's so soft and comfortable, and I might just fall asleep right here during tonight's session because of how comfortable it is. So y'all should click the Streamlabs link below and get that.
Awesome. Thank you. And also we're going to pop down and say hello to the lovely Tour School. Oh, hi.
Oh, hi. How are you? I am really looking forward to tonight. It was such an amazing session last time. And yeah, no, I've been sort of contemplating all of the things and stuff and things and where our good friend Tolan Falk, who is going to end up today. Yeah, Tolan is a older gentleman, is a part... was a once seeker, now retired, owns a junk shop, and has quite a history, as the party found out last week here in Karnan. So I can't wait.
Perfect. Thank you. And then we're going to hop around and say hello to the lovely The Crafting News. Oh, hi.
Hi, I'm V, and tonight I can't wait to jump back into playing Nadi. She is a magic user with her lovely companion Prema, a lovely otter who is mostly silver, but every so often he might change colors, and he tends to sort of have his own attitude, which I love. And she has a great affinity for flowers and plants and friendships for sure these days. So I'm really excited to see how it goes tonight because last week was just holy wow.
Perfect, thank you. And last but certainly not least, Julie.
Hello, I'm Julie. I go by J Graveart everywhere online. Here I play Charlie Blake, who is another magic user. So she has a little familiar named Owl. He's a little tiny little leafy sea dragon, who is honestly very shy, especially compared to Prima. So I too am very excited for tonight. It's a brand new world of friendships for Charlie. So we will see where we go.
Perfect. Thank you. First, I want to say a huge thank you to Forever Charm 21 for that donation. I will find something to gift, throw, whatever at these lovely players here. We are going to start with Tolan. And Tolan, you find yourself waking up in a room you've slept in many a time, in Aggie's house. And there's rain sort of pattering down on that tiny window that looks out over her fairly enclosed walled garden. And the bed is so comfortable. And you see the two cats sort of curled up, Jeremy and Jemima, at the end of it. There is a small vase of flowers on the corner of the table, which you're pretty sure weren't there when you went to bed last night. And you can also see the terranium that Nadine gave Aggie is also currently in that room as well. And you wake up with just that feeling of calm more than anything else. Still sort of recoiling from things that have happened, but there is a sense that this room is just calm, and it's not empty, but it's minimal. You can see things that definitely make this room Aggie's, but it's just got a very welcome feeling with all of these sort of heavy blankets on the bed, and you can feel the cats purring at the end of it. Oh, you're muted. You, Mike?
I think it's probably before dawn, if that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
As Tolan got some rest, almost blacked out after a heavy midnight snack. And he was a mess from the night before. And so there's a little small, just sort of connecting washroom. It's almost sort of under the eaves of the house, with sort of a slanted roof, but there's a little small, just square type shower, not like a tub or anything, just sort of a square shower and a sink in there. And he sort of got himself cleaned up, and that sort of weird calm that can come from being someplace that's not your house, but is familiar and well thought of about making sure you felt at home, or maybe not at home, someplace different. And so he got himself cleaned up, and as always happens, by the time he had come out. There was an old pair of pajamas that Aggie had laid still folded up on the bed, and his dirty clothes were not to be found, but his coat was hung up. She knows he likes to have that close by. And he did get some rest. And he wakes up and it's still dark. Maybe just the lightest bit of light touching the windows. And he does sort of relish the moment of being in the bed. But sort of throws his legs over the side. I think just sits there for a while. There is a safety to the room and a calmness. Like there's just this bone weariness, just exhaustion that from the day before. And as he sits, it's almost, he feels so empty that he almost feels like he doesn't even have to breathe, that there's just enough space inside him that the air seems to flow in and out. And he'll finally sort of remind himself to take a breath as he looks at his hands and kind of wonder whether it's been a minute since the last time he inhaled or whether it's been an hour. I think he sits there, the cat's purring, and just tries to almost be nothing for just a little bit. There are things he knows he needs to take care of, but as his mind starts to explore them, he almost recoils and starts as he just has to pull away from the things that he bought from Valadris. He wonders for a second about Avric and if he's okay, but even to begin to run down that road of what could have happened to him, it turns to dark thoughts so quickly he just recoils from them. He knows that the deacon is thorough. So he wonders what his next meetings with Charlie, Paula, and Nadi will be like, since the deacon had mentioned that he knew they'd been around, at least two of them. I don't think the deacon mentioned Charlie. And so he sits. I think at some point he probably hears the door open as Aggie heads out, or heads back in, maybe, I don't know.
So you hear like a click of the door, and you hear a bustling downstairs, and both Jeremy and Jemima sort of jump up, and you hear that sort of the thud as they start running down the stairs almost in unison together. And you can hear her greeting them, but it's quite quiet in this room. You can see that compass on the table. She's set next to the terranium and the small sort of bunch of flowers. And just that rain almost like prickling against this tiny window. And you can hear Aggie just moving around downstairs. You can hear the clatter of pans, the clinking of crockery, but you can tell she's trying to be quieter. She's not, but she's trying. She's normally much louder than this, but you're pretty sure she's trying to be quiet downstairs as you hear her fill up the kettle and put it on the stove.
I think with that, and the compass sitting there. Tolan heavily pushes himself up off of this bed, back on his feet, almost checking to make sure that he still can balance and can stand. And he goes over, and his old corduroys are folded where at some point Aggie has gotten the soil off of them and dirt, and when they were wet from him sitting in the alleyway amongst the trash. And that old shirt that he wears, it's white, but it's sort of more off-white, not like bleached white, and almost has a little bit of a flannel texture to it, so it keeps him warm. He sort of buttons it up and sees where Aggie at some point had even had the time to mend the tear in his pants. He almost wonders if this is the next day or 2 days later. But puts his coat on, maybe just throws it over his arm, checks to make the keys are in his pockets and all the other doodads, and gets the compass, and I think takes a long moment and looks back at this room, the little round window with the light coming in, sparse, but somehow his, a sanctuary. He kind of almost gives it the reverence that you would give a small chapel at a church. Tolan doesn't smile often, just the hint of one. Touches his lips as he pulls the door shut, compass in hand, and heads downstairs. Thinking, I've always imagined Aggie's as almost being sort of like a townhome, like a 3-story townhome, and this is all the way up, almost like a little attic room. And so he goes down the 2 flights of stairs, making it down to the shop and kitchen level. And just sort of wanders in. I'll get down the teacups and saucers. Good morning.
You just hear, "Good morning, sweetie." And you can see she's been out to the shops already, and there seems to be just bacon and eggs cooking. And there is a jug of orange juice on the side, and the kettle is whistling.
He grabs the kettle and fills the teapot, as she does, to bring it over the table, so there'll be hot water at the table, and the tea, and he gets her cushion and puts it on her chair for her so that she doesn't have to get it herself. And sits down and makes sure her tea is steeped the way she likes it while she finishes up pulling breakfast together.
And after a little bit, there's a sort of another clank of crockery, a bit louder than before now that she knows you're awake. And she comes over with toast, eggs, bacon. She eats a lot normally, but you notice she's only eating toast at the moment. And she slides the plate over to you, probably piled up a lot more than you would normally eat. and sort of gives you a smile and hops on this chair, sort of, and it is a proper hop because her feet don't quite touch the ground, especially with this cushion. Did you sleep well?
Don't know if it was sleep or just turning off, but as always, thank you for having a space for me.
It's always there, and it always has been.
You've been out, have you,
Oh, I just went to get some groceries. You know, stop by the cafe, couldn't help myself. They do some good pastries in there.
Yes, I know how you like your pastries.
Exactly. I'm afraid I didn't bring any back, and
That's fine. I'd rather just have your biscuits. It's too sweet for me, all of the frosting and things.
and she just sort of smiles and sips her tea. So, I know it's raining, but that doesn't mean you can't have a day in the garden.
You've never invited me out to your garden before.
No, I suppose I haven't. Normally I'm asleep in it by the time... Yes.
Yeah.
She sort of ponders about it. There's a lovely little walkway completely covered by the rain. Takes you over to one of the seating areas. It's quite calm.
That would be nice. At some point, I'm going to need to go see about Averick. He was waiting for me at the shop last night. Oh, I think she froze. Perfect Aggie pose.
She was. And am I back yet? Okay. She pushes your flip phone over the table, which you don't remember being taken out of your coat pocket, but sort of maybe imagine she took it out when you look at the screen, you have a lot of missed calls. And she looks at your face and back down at the phone. I've spoken to him. I said, you'll be along to see him soon.
Is he all right?
Oh, fine. A little bit jittery, but otherwise fine. More concerned about you, I believe.
Oh, Averick. I'll be sure to make it by this evening. So, this compass that you've found,
Yes.
tall gentleman, you say?
Tall gentleman. Big gentleman. But then everyone's tall to me.
That's true. Did you catch his name? Was it Ivan?
I don't know, might have been. Very smiley chap.
Could be.
Had lots of things, lots of pretty things, shiny things.
Did he have the funny little hoppy toys?
Yes! As she sort of reaches in her pocket and pulls out this little owl and puts it down very delicately on the table. Look at it!
He was definitely moving those owls. I ended up with one as well.
And she sort of puts it down by Jeremy and Jemima. One of them picks it up and sort of moves off with it.
Oh, that's going to not last long.
Oh, fine. And she's like, but yes, this compass. Right. And she smiles, and it's quite big. You can hold it like in two hands.
Mm-hmm.
And she taps on it. Is it? Doesn't point north. In fact, keeps moving.
That's interesting. Wonder what it's pointing to. He sort of moves it around a little bit just to see if he can see if it seems to just be spinning willy-nilly or if it's sort of tracking towards something.
As you pick it up, it does seem to do a very quick spin and then stop, pointing almost like just west, effectively. I don't know, but it's pretty, isn't it? Look at those pictures.
It is very nice. And he sort of looks down, sort of takes out his little magnifying glasses that he keeps in the inside pocket. And to get a better look, close-ups at the face of it to see what's written on it or what pictures he's referring to.
You can see that there is a north, east, west, south, and almost set behind on a very sort of almost like a shell-like material in very, very tiny sort of sections all the way around are different animals. Sort of rabbits, bears, birds, like a wide variety all the way around. And you're used to looking at trinkets. You've seen things kind of like it before, and you can see what looks to be under one of the ridges underneath the glass, something that would light it up. Maybe for a seeker when traveling at night.
It's quite a spectacular piece. I hope you didn't pay too much for it, Aggie.
No, and he threw in the free owl.
Huh. Interesting.
Said he needed to shift it before he moved on.
Yes, he was moving quite a bit of things. Well, what else do you have planned for your day? Other than
Well,
rescuing.
I'm going to sit in the garden. I'm going to drink a lot of tea, and then I might go for a wander later if this rain holds up.
Wander in the rain.
Why not?
I guess. It's been a while since I've been caught in a rainstorm.
And she smiles. It's quite fun, you know.
All depends on whether you know you've got a nice house and cup of tea to get to at the end of the day, not setting up a tent in a deluge
Well,
and trying to make a campfire.
She looks around and is like, you do have that.
It's true. Well, will a daft old lady show a lost old man a garden?
I think so. Come on. And she sort of shuffles and drops off of the top of the stool.
He grabs a biscuit to go.
And she throws open like this stable door to section 1 to open it. And you can suddenly hear that rain, that powerful rain, as you look out into this walled garden, which is covered in flowers and it is drenched. You can see either side of the path where even some of the rain is starting to pool in the grass itself. But there is also a walkway, which seems you can see leads around the edge of the garden to a sheltered part where there is table and chairs. You see a small lantern not lit at the center of the table, and the whole walkway is under cover by sort of just thick blanketed wisteria, just a thick purple sort of flower that runs all the way along the side, and here and there you see a drip of water get through, but not really. And as you step near the doorway, she goes, whoa, wait. just in case it does drip. And there's a coat rack near the door. And you've seen it. It's always over the top full of coats. You're not sure if it's people forgetting them there, how many are hers, or anything. But she takes a hat off of this hook as yours disappeared as you fled yesterday. And she takes it off this coat hook and sort of hands it over to you. It was Tom's. Look after it. And this is your trinket. And she smiles and is like, you put a charm on it. Won't get wet.
Well, isn't that convenient?
And you can see a small, like very, very tiny, almost like the size of your thumbnail, this tiny little silver bear brooch, which is just pinned to the edge.
Silver bear.
Mm-hmm.
He sort of looks at Aggie questioningly. I won't say I can't accept this because I just know you'll rebuff me.
Yes.
But if you ever want or need it back, you need only ask.
Well, someone's got to use it. It's too big for my head.
Yes, but it's too small for your heart.
True. But he's got a lot of hats.
Yes, Aggie, of course. You're right.
He'd rather them be used. And you know this from Aggie, that sometimes she talks interchangeably as if he's still there.
Yep.
Like, a lot of the time it is past tense, but every now and then it's as if he's still there. And you look over at this rack of coats and things like that, and you can now realize there's 2 coats there that have never been moved. And they're definitely a man's coat.
Well, shall we head out?
Let me grab my tea. Wait. And she sort of hurries back to the table.
Yep.
Grabs the teapot, grabs her mug, and heads into the garden.
He sort of stands there while she runs back, sort of setting this hat on his head, his coat that he has worn for so long, and sort of doesn't feel the need to do his ritual before stepping outside. The sky doesn't seem so empty and frightening in this place for him to need to steel himself about heading into the outdoors. And when she comes out, he'll put his arm out as there's 1 or 2 steps down to the path. Make sure she doesn't trip on the wet pavers. And I figured they'll totter over to down the path.
Jeremy and Jemima lead the way as they sort of tumble forwards very unelegantly. And she sort of, you can hear her sort of, not curse under her breath, but just sort of move, like she sort of, with her little feet, tries to work her way around them, though they do very conveniently move around her with ease. And you sit in the garden, and as much as it is daytime, there is a storm coming, and it is the sky itself is slightly darker than usual. It is grey, so she does light that candle at the center of this wooden table, and we're gonna hop over to Charlie and Nadie, who are still in Nadie's house, and you're just finishing up breakfast, and you can hear that rain coming down, that heavy rain, as it starts off light and then gets heavier and heavier. Have I frozen?
Oh,
Now you are.
okay. So then, very dramatic pause.
There we go.
As this rain gets heavier and heavier, and you can really hear it sort of almost echoing as you hear it bouncing off things like the greenhouse, as there's a lot more windows in this place. What are you both doing?
You want to see something cool? Like, really, really cool?
Sure.
Okay, you gotta come with me. And she's gonna, like, grab her by the hand. Like, she's like an excited child at Christmas. The second
Here
she
we go.
starts, like, can't contain herself. So we go zipping around the staircase and over to the door, and I'll open it up and we'll walk into the greenhouse, which I'm assuming because of where Nadi lives, there's fog that's also kind of encased the greenhouse itself. So it's become its own little world. And she's just going to let go and start clapping. Just look up at the top. Look at the top and watch the rain.
This is loud. This is like thundering down on the glass.
It's like we're stuck in a waterfall. Isn't this great? It's like it's its own little world. I love it when it rains. I mean, yes, the plants love the sun, but for me, I just love watching the water. You can follow the drops and like see them make their path and journey down to the ground. It's like they're each their own little story as they go.
Kind of makes everything else feel a lot quieter.
Yeah, takes you away. You get it. Not everyone gets it. I'm glad you do.
This is nice, Nadine.
You're very welcome in here whenever you want. I know you like plants too, and you strike me as the right person to be in here.
Why do you trust me with all this? You barely know me.
Yeah, but you give off that that vibe that we click. Simple as that. I'm good at reading people. Yeah, people have pasts, but it's more about the person than the actions. You've been kind. You've been nice. You like plants too, and you've shown me plants. You put up with me at the shop first day we met, and I know I chattered off your ear. Most of the time it's like, yeah, lady, buy this stuff, get out the door, thank you, bye. But you took your time.
Is that simple?
Sometimes it should be. Look, I figure there's more to the story, but I don't break the spines of books. You let me know when you're ready to tell yours.
Appreciate that.
Well, it's fair, yes? So, what'd you think of our little friend last night?
Well, honestly, a lot more chatty than I expected.
Yeah, she was willing to give a lot of information. Plus, poor thing seemed to be starving. I mean, my God, she ate 2 of those Yorkshire pudding things.
2?
2! I bought her one, but one for myself. But seeing how she kept eating, I'm like, well, you know what? I know I'm going to eat later. Here, kiddo, better you than me.
Wow.
Yeah, something to keep in mind. But, you know, she did share some... Well, personally, I think it's unsettling. Do you have any idea what might be going on? Again,
Pretty
you
sure.
don't...
No, I'm pretty sure I know who she works for, or with, or whatever that arrangement is.
Here, you know, let's sit down and, you know, get comfortable, because, you know, looks like maybe...
Yeah.
Look, here, I have a nice comfy chair over here. You sit down. Oh, here, I'll take a pillow. So she'll give you this big wicker chair that has these huge overstuffed cushions, and there's actually a blanket that's draped over the side. And, you know, there's like a couple of speckles of dirt and stuff, but you can tell this is a very well-used, easy chair to squish into.
Mhm.
And she just takes one of the pillows and kind of plops herself down, sort of on a crate. So, you know, not exactly sitting on the ground, but still slightly lower than you.
Kind of tucks her feet up, and you know, she doesn't take up a lot of space wherever she is. She's kind of, especially when she's sitting, so usually her feet will be up. Yeah, what's weird this time is, look, when I knew this guy, he would at least talk to people face to face. I don't know about these messages that she's getting, if they're just in her head or on paper or word of mouth or what it is, but I don't know, maybe he's just being more careful now.
Maybe. How do you know a same person? Like, what was the tip of?
I needed a mentor once. Someone who didn't go through the ordinary academy channels, I guess. I thought that was the only way to learn, well, everything. But it turns out there's lots of people who find their own way, and
Yeah, know that very well.
so when she said it was his Zenonakwe, it's a big cat, I remember that.
No. So it's... Yeah, that's kind of... I suppose that'd be a good tip, huh?
We had a bit of the same deal, where I'd run errands, move things, whatever he or our friends needed. And he'd teach me more.
So it kind of seemed like you were part of a group for you when you were younger.
Yeah.
Like you belong. Yeah, well, I had
That's
it.
nice.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I was just a kid, but, you know, Papa's friends, they'd come over, they sit here, drink, and, you know, send me out to run errands, and I was a handy kid to have around because I was quick and speedy, because, you know, again, they tend to just want to make sure I get out of the shop before talking too much. But, you know, interesting what happens when people don't want you around anymore, huh? So were you that young? She seemed awfully young.
No,
Looks like we got a new friend!
I don't even... I thought I would have remembered her. It wasn't that long ago.
She said she'd worked with him for... Or them, him, I don't know. She, her? She said she worked for 3 years already, and she's only 9.
Guess he had more friends than I thought.
I don't know. Part of me thinks pawns might be a better word in this case.
I never really knew what he was planning. If there were plans.
How did you, get out? Well, you know, if you don't mind my asking you.
I ran. I hid for a while.
Yeah, I guess
There's friends that help with that.
it's good you have friends who are actual friends willing to help you.
Not all of them were bad. I still know a few.
Okay, good. You have me too now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you know, lose some friends, gain some friends. Get away from no name. I don't know, guess I'm worried about the kid.
I think she's fine for now.
Okay. Well, hopefully she does come around, say hello every so often. Like to kind of maybe keep tabs on that one and check her sleeves.
How about you? This place has a lot of you in it.
Well, yeah, I mean, I planted everything in here. It literally all has my touch on it.
Said you didn't get out much when we first met.
Yeah, no. I kind of had my zoning permissions. Like, this is where you're allowed to go on. Papa's very protective. Probably a lot has to go back to what happened with my mother. I don't even know the whole story on that one, but he just wants to be sure I'm safe and nothing happens to me. So, no academy. Although, more I'm hearing about it, maybe that's not such a bad thing. In one way, I don't know. And, you know, stick to the streets he knew and the people he knew. And that was about it. But, you know, between you and me, Prim kind of helped bend some rules. So, not exactly completely sheltered, like every so often she let the canary out of the cage. Like, a little bit more often as Papa was taking longer trips because, you know, he got comfortable and felt, you know, I was safe and she was there, so she kind of became my partner in crime.
I think we all need someone like that.
Yeah, she's a lovely lady. Hopefully you'll get to meet her too. I think she's like, you know, Aggie. You know how Aggie's like cute little grandmother type? Yeah, that's not Prim. No, she's but she cares like Aggie. You can tell. They both have big hearts.
I like that.
Me too.
Well, I should see if Armand is even opening the shop today. Because I'd really rather not walk in this. I'm just gonna text him. It's like, hey, I'm across town.
You do get a message back. It's very much him just sort of saying, shop not opening today, sorting through flowers from...
Oh, right, yeah.
Some kids stopped by asking after you, but that's it.
Alright. I'll just reply like, cool, thanks.
You get one message back that just says she broke a pot and a sort of like an angry face.
I just reply like... I was gonna swear and I probably shouldn't. Anyway, but it's a similarly disgruntled and sympathetic reply.
Yeah, he doesn't come across as angry. It's like an annoyed face more than anything.
Like exasperated.
Yeah.
Another one.
Else, yeah.
Alright.
So everything okay on the work front?
Yeah. Yeah, he's sorting through all the flowers we picked up last night from the night market.
Oh, I might need to stop by after you're done sorting.
I think you'd like it. We're gonna try and set up a spot in the back that has just the Valadrian flowers, so that they're all just kind of together, and the ones that like light up and stuff can just be their own little glowing corner.
Yeah, you let me know when that's ready, because I definitely will. I'll come and, that I may spend more than like an hour there for a warning. Well, hey, do you want, I know it's rainy and not so much fun, but, wanna go get something to drink at Brew and Bindings, maybe?
Sure.
I'm kind of hoping maybe, Flo might be there, we can make sure she's okay.
Yeah. I wonder what happened last night.
I don't know, that's not really like her though. So, that's why I thought, maybe stop at coffee shop, see if she's there, and, I don't know. I just have a feeling I'd rather look at her rather than just, hear from a text you sent her that, yeah, okay, whatever, because that's sometimes okay does not mean okay.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if the school's open again. She may be working.
Yeah, that's true. Well, we could always start at the Brew and Bindings, and then I don't know, if you don't have any plans, we could always maybe go check out the library again. That is, if you want to go into the academy.
I probably shouldn't.
Yeah, okay. Well then, we'll just stop at Brew and Bindings.
So is Aggie's.
Oh, that's true too. Yeah, I'd like to maybe check on her, make sure she's doing alright as well. Alright, so yeah, we'll do that. And if you want, I have extra boots if you want for the rain so your shoes don't get wet.
That's a good idea.
Alright, no problem. And if you turn and see, there's like all of these bright rain boots just lined up against the wall, because clearly she likes boots as well as plants.
They're important to have when you're gardening.
So there's like, red boots with rainbows, and there's blue boots with rain clouds, and there's kittens on the pink ones, and just pretty much as tacky and bright as possible. So
I want these cat ones. They're very good.
Well, that's a good choice. I like those ones. Those are fun. If you look down, it's like they smile up at you.
They do.
And tucked into these boots, Charlie, which you're pretty sure probably in every set of boots are a very thick pair of like welly boot socks. And this is going to be your other trinket.
Socks, yes.
You hold them on. These are very thick socks. Like they can go all the way up to just above your knees, so they can go over the boots. But as you secure them over the top of the welly boots, it's like they just start to warm up. And you get the feeling they may not these aren't normal socks, but these they're in every pair of the welly boots, and they start to, they don't glow or anything like that. It's literally, you can feel it like the material itself has been resting on a radiator. And Nadia, if you want a pair, there's a pair in there too.
Cool, I'm taking the rainbow boots.
Cozy.
And you can head out to Broom Bindings, and as you walk along the streets, there's puddles everywhere. They're sort of pooling in the cobbled streets. You can see the water running off of all of the leaves and all of the flowers. It's sort of coming up to midday, but the lights coming from the flowers are starting to glow with this very grey, dark day. You can hear the rain sort of running off all the rooftops, and you can see that the waterways are much higher than they usually are, and not overflowing, not flooding, not rocky or anything. They're just that much higher, and you can see the gondolas almost are at your eye level as they go past, as you make your way to Broom Bindings. And then we're going to hop over to Paula. Paula, what are you doing right now? Are you still in your library?
Yeah. Paula's still at the library. After she burned the list of names, she looked at the fire for a little bit, and that fire reflected in her eyes turned into a fire in her soul, and she just started running around the library, smashing books into shelves, and she's frustrated that she can't make sense of anything. She's frustrated that she has to rethink her approach to meeting people and understanding the world around her. And she hears the pitter patter of the rain outside and she looks up at the giant stained glass windows, and despite how peaceful this library is right now, it's almost like there's like a crowd in her head of just people like shouting things at her, and she sees flashes of Matthias and the deacon and Aggie and everyone trying to give their 2 cents. And it's overwhelming. At one point she's climbing a ladder to put a book on a shelf, and it's an immensely tall ladder for an immensely tall bookshelf, and she's at the top of it, and she's thinking, right now I'm trusting this ladder to support me, but I can't even trust the people around me. And that's just an incredibly saddening thought for her. And she tries to think, like, why can't I trust anyone? Why can't I connect to anyone? And she quickly tries to cancel those thoughts because she has to work. She has to work. And she works all day, very aggressively. She's snippy with the students. If they're too noisy, she barks at them. And she sends out a group text to Nadine and Noah. Don't forget, we have class today. If you're late, then you get a demerit. And
you're sort of like punching this into your phone, and you see the clouds grow darker and darker through the stained glass window, so the reflection on the floor is sort of disappearing. And you can see entering the library, arm in one sling, is Noah. And you can see he's carrying a few books under his arm, not as many as usual. And he sort of looks up at the bookshelf and holds them up, and you see them just sort of start to drift upwards and reshelve themselves as he sort of wanders in, like arm literally strapped to his shoulder, and looks nervous. In fact, you see him hesitate briefly at seeing where you know is the spot where he was when this happened. And you see him pause and take a deep breath. Sort of his very silvery, almost white blonde hair is absolutely drenched, as is he's got a red jumper on, also drenched. He doesn't seem to have remembered his coat today. And he's soaked. But he walks in and he sees you and just sort of smiles and gives almost an awkward wave towards you, but won't approach because you're punching your mobile phone.
Yeah. When Paula looks up from her phone and sees Noah, she lets out a deep sigh and walks up to him. Noah, today's not a good day for anything, really. Just make sure you get to class on time today, please, for once.
Yeah, no, I will. I just thought I thought I'd come in and say thanks. That's all.
Yeah, it's no problem. I mean, they ended up making a mess in my library anyway. I mean, it could be worse. They didn't damage anything, but...
Well, and he sort of looks down at his arm briefly and sort of gives a sheepish smile. He's like, I'm gonna have to go to class, and the deacon's gonna take me to meet the seers later. I've got to have a meeting with them because of this. And again, gestures to his arm. So
Wait.
I won't make class tonight. I mean, I don't think I'd be very good at it anyway right now, but...
Wait, he's taking you to see the seers first?
Well, yeah.
I haven't gotten to talk to the seers yet. I've been trying to talk to them for... since I got followed home that one day.
I don't know. They just said they wanted to see my arm.
Yeah, well, I guess that's a valid excuse for missing class. I'm sorry for being snippy. I'm sorry about the arm.
It's all right. It could have been worse. If you and that, what was his name? And it sort of has a pause. Well, anyway, if you two hadn't been here, no, what would have happened? So thanks.
Let's try not to think about that. We got to keep going. You know, you can't let them scare you. Okay, Matthias? Not Matthias. Okay, Noah? Sorry.
It's all right. I'm not scared of them.
You can't let them scare you. Okay?
They don't. They don't scare me.
Good. That's what I like to hear. You brave kid.
I am. I mean, the church does a little bit, but then that's yeah.
Don't let anyone scare you, Noah. Not the church either. Not the shadow people. They're just...
Have you told anyone else about it?
I figured everyone probably knows by now. I mean, there was the whole school was evacuated, and I mean, I told the deacon, he said I talked to the seers, but so much for that.
I ain't seen anything in the papers.
There's nothing, but everyone had to have noticed. Why
Yeah,
wouldn't they have written about it?
they noticed the academy shut down for the night because, and he sort of reaches in
Looks like
to
we
one
got
of
a
his
new
bags,
friend.
which as he does, you see stuff fall out of it as he pulls it out because of magical disturbances.
That
Hello, Raiders.
that must be a misprint. There's no. Who writes these papers anyway?
I don't know. It was just at the front desk.
I want to find out who writes these papers.
And again, he sort of was like, wait, it wasn't me.
Okay, well, if you hear anything about who writes these papers, you let me know.
I mean, yeah. Yeah, I'll let you know. I'll let you know what the seers say as well.
I mean, did they even talk to anyone that was here? Because if they did, they probably would have known we were attacked by shadow people.
Well, he didn't talk to me either. I'm not allowed to say anything until after I've spoken to the seers.
You're not allowed?
Well,
What do you
no.
mean you're not allowed?
Well, for information reasons, you know. Don't want a story to get twisted.
Who said that? Who told you you're not allowed to say anything?
The deacon, he was up there earlier. He's just telling, I don't know. He just said not to do anything because they need all the information to help with the, I don't know.
Well, in the meantime, people are going around spreading lies. I need to talk to the deacon.
He's real
You need to go to class. You're going to be late for class, Noah.
Okay, I'm going. I promised I'd go. I'm going. And he sort of turns and sort of bolts out, like waving a hand behind him. And you see this red salamander poke its head up and just give you a little sort of flapping wave with its webbed, like, feet as he disappears. And you can hear him squelch on the way off.
Paula puts down the book she was carrying and she promptly follows after Noah, but not following him to class, but looking for the deacon.
Okay. And you can follow Noah and you see him disappear off one of the many corridors. You don't see the deacon specifically anywhere, but you do see something else you've noticed in the first day back, because they were all in your library trying to move things around and trying to sort of put things back. Are those church members in this brown suits and that rising sun stitched on the pocket. And some of them are just talking with the other teachers. Otherwise, some just seem to be standing by the door, not really doing anything. If anything, they just seem to be monitoring things. They're greeting people as they come into the academy.
Excuse me.
Yes, and you recognize this guard almost straight away, the one who wouldn't let you in. Hello. How can I help you?
So glad to see you again.
It is good to see you too, miss. I'm glad to see you managed to get back in here in a formally accordingly order.
Yep. Here we are.
Here we are. And he's got this big smile on his face. And he's, again, you can see the other one stood next to him, just trying to look anywhere but where you both are, an older gentleman. And this one is very young, bright red hair, straight out of the church. And he stands very upright compared to his companion.
Have you happened to see the Deacon Marks wandering the halls recently?
I have indeed, ma'am.
Could you point to me the direction that he walked?
I'm afraid not. He is in a meeting with the headmaster. Not to be disturbed.
You know, I actually would like to talk to the headmaster too. Do you think that maybe, you know, you and we're friends, right? Like we
I'm afraid we have only met once before, and it was just a passing meeting. But if you would like to pursue a friendship, I am interested.
No, that's not gonna work. Do you know anything about witnesses being asked to keep quiet about what happened here the other day?
I'm afraid I cannot disclose any of that information.
Do you know when the deacon is getting out of his meeting with the headmaster?
I'm afraid I cannot disclose any of that information. And the older gentleman in the suit sort of leans forward off of the wall. He's like, look, love, he'll be out in like an hour or so.
All right. Well, I'll be waiting in my library. When you see him exit, if you could just let him know that...
Yeah, I'll let him know. I'll let him know you. What's your name?
Miss Packer.
Okay, Miss Packer, I will point him in your direction.
Okay. Which is the library.
The library, yep.
My library.
Lots of books, yep.
Good.
Okay.
Well, I'm glad we're all on the same page here. This was good.
You could call it that, yep.
I hope I don't have to talk to either of you ever again.
The feeling is mutual.
And Paula will make her way back to the library.
You can hear the older gentleman turn to the younger one, like, what is wrong with you? Like, as they sort of start having a bit of like an argument about winding up situations. You get like dribs and drabs from a conversation that you can hear as they get louder and louder, and you can tell that the younger one is giving just as plain responses to his partner as he was to you. And we're gonna hop back over to Tolan. Where is Tolan right now after you've been sitting in this garden for probably a couple of hours. It's gone lunchtime, and Aggie's definitely been in and out of the kitchen topping up the tea, and there's a plate in front of you that is like a share plate. There's cheese, there's hams, there's crackers and bread and all this sort of thing on there, which you've been picking at the entire time as it passes lunchtime.
I think as it starts getting to early afternoon, his curiosity probably gets the best of him, but there's a part of him who just doesn't quite want to leave. So I think he might take just a lap around her garden, just sort of taking a look at the plants, seeing what what species she has here. If he sees some of these plants from Valadris, if she's gotten them to actually transplant, which he knows is not terribly easy to do. to become native. I mean, keeping them in pots is one thing. Getting them to grow in a garden is quite something else. And so I think he'll take sort of just a stroll around for a moment, almost taking the place of sort of his, ritual of his keys and patting things down. So he's sort of steeling himself to go out the threshold again. He doesn't quite know what's going to face him outside those front doors. He knows he needs to get to Brew and Bindings, though, and to check in with Averick and see what, if anything. And he still has the problem of trying to find Nadi. I mean, they're in the back of his mind. I mean, before all of this happened, there's this fear to contend with. So he'll probably get up and wander down the path and just sort of see a little bit more of her garden before getting back at the door and saying goodbyes and probably adjusting the clock, the broken clock that they always fight over.
And you walk around this garden and you don't see any flowers from Philadrus. You see the tiniest, you can't even really call it a greenhouse. It's almost like half a shed of glass where there's a lot of tomatoes growing in it. And there seems to be a few flowers, but you recognize them from being from Serani, which is much further south in a much warmer climate. And you can guess this was probably a gift or something, as she very much tends to stick to what's local.
Yeah.
There's like a small pond, you can see it's been raised up, almost like a stone bed, because she can't bend down like she used to bend down to sort of tend to it, with these huge lilies sort of drifting along the top. And the garden just feels very wild. You're pretty sure she doesn't tend to it that often. Every now and then she does something to it. Maybe Charlie does when Aggie's asleep. But other than that, it's left. And so many plants just creep up the stone walls, sort of then merging into this wisteria tunnel, effectively. And before you leave, she does insist you take the hat. And she doesn't say anything on the day before. She gives you sort of like just a pat on your arm and says, she'll see you later.
And I think that's very much the couple of other times where he's had to stay over, or that she's insisted. Very rarely do they insist with each other to do things. It's almost their code that they do not burden the other by insisting them to do things or forcing the things. But there's probably a half dozen times, sometimes Tolan insisting something of her for her own good, mostly her insisting Tolan. But he checks his keys and adjusts this new hat, sort of flips up his collar to keep out whatever rain might sneak around under the brim, and heads out, keeping a good eye out, probably taking the back alleys, but each time I think hesitating, seeing as he was sort of got caught both first by the deacon and then being lost in the alleys. I think once or twice, he decides to not take one and to take the main road instead, risking the things he knows instead of maybe being ambushed and not being able to deal with it as well. And makes his way to Ruin Bindings.
And you arrive at Ruin Bindings. It is just Avric in there. There's no one else. You can see he's by the bar. He's drumming his fingers on the bar and just like looking and twitching, and you can see that Clyde is actually pacing. He's just wandering around the tables, knocking everything off, and Avric doesn't even seem to notice. He stares fairly blankly forward. And he doesn't look fully there, just like he's daydreaming. Yep. But there's no one else in there.
He sort of opens the door gently, and as the bells ring, I'm so sorry.
And at that, he jumps up and he sort of moves around like the bar, the sort of the thing, and he runs over and he just gives you the biggest hug and stays there for a moment, and you can feel him gripping the back of your jacket before pushing you back. So, you all right?
While they're hugging, Tolan is not a hugger, but with Avric, years of adventuring and close calls and close scrapes that they've been through together, he does return it, and I think just sort of one more solid thing now sort of in his life. And whereas this morning he was recoiling from even thinking about what could have happened to Avric, that he's okay and that we still have a problem to solve, but the incident with the deacon didn't seem to have ruined everything. My old friend found me while I was on my way to find Nadie.
And Clyde sort of pads over, sits down in front of you, doesn't look at you, and just sort of flops up against your legs. And Avric's like, what did he do? Are you Aggie said you were sleeping.
He
got a headache.
Aggie. He had gotten word that I had been out and about and felt the need to remind me of who I was.
And you see just almost like a rage across Avric's face, and he's just like, did he now? And sort of goes to start grabbing his coat, and he's like,
calm down. Calm down.
And he pauses. He can't do that.
Yes, he can.
Well, he shouldn't be able to do that.
Lots of people do lots of things that they shouldn't. Doesn't mean that they can't.
Someone needs to say something.
Certainly not you.
Well, why not?
Your situation is delicate enough.
He raises an eyebrow.
Look, the world needs to believe that world needs to believe that I was controlling you.
But you weren't.
But say it after me, I was. Or else you're going to be in the same place that I'm in. Luckily, most people just think you have Stockholm syndrome that you even allow me to be around. You've been so thoroughly gaslit that you don't understand that I was your abuser.
And he really frowns at you. He's like, I won't say anything, but I'm not saying that.
I know. But people are going to believe the worst. They need to believe the worst of me.
Fine.
But I appreciate it. I wish it was different, but it's not.
Do you want coffee? And he just sort of brushes
Yes,
off.
please. That would be great.
Okay. Coffee. Okay. And he sort of drops his coat again on one of the chairs as he walks back and starts up the coffee machine. Look. Something weird happened last night. And nothing to panic about, like as he sort of like stops like reaching for a mug. But it was doing its thing. It was singing again. It was, I don't know.
The tones.
I mean, yeah, whatever that is. Someone came to the back door. Clyde was there. Clyde notified me immediately. It was fine. And the door's locked. After I figured you weren't.
Right.
Coming.
Yes.
The 15th phone call, I didn't think you would pick up.
I'm sorry.
It's fine. I'm guessing Aggie took your phone.
Yes.
Well, I
She-
panicked. They wouldn't stop knocking. And it wasn't a knock knock, can I come in? It was a thumping. And then I turned the lights out. They stopped knocking at the door, and it was like the song of this thing that, and he sort of leans in. There's no one in the coffee shop. He's like, the art was getting louder, and the knocking at the back door stopped. I turned all the lights off. I very much like a coward took Clyde and Rod and I hid behind that sofa over there. And then there was knocking at the window.
It's not being a coward, it's being smart.
Anyway, the more it sung, the more I heard the knocking. I couldn't look up, didn't dare. In a panic, I told it to shut up. And it did. And now I can't get it to do anything again.
That might be for the best. Did the knocking go away when it stopped singing?
It stopped dead. And I heard the footsteps leave. A few sets of them.
Well, we have our answer as to whether or not it's a beacon.
Yes, but it can turn itself on and off.
I have no idea what the implications of that are. That's... Where is it now?
are you kidding me? I'm not putting it down. And he sort of like lifts up this like very heavy knit jumper and sort of pulls it out in this, still wrapped in this cloth. And he's like, still bloody shocks me every time I try and touch it.
Well, stop touching it then.
Well, I was trying to get it to work. Like, and again, he's sort of like awkwardly with his back to the window. It's not doing anything.
Part of me, well, let's be smart this time about it. It started singing when I sang to it. And in fact, when I just spoke to it, I told it was going to be quite a problem, wasn't it? Sort of asking rhetorically, as I do. And it kind of smugly sang back at me.
Are you telling me you've got the most dangerous pet rock that anyone could have?
Indeed, but even worse.
What? What's worse than that?
I told it it was going to be a problem, and then it was. You told it to shut up, and then it did.
What does that mean?
Concept matching to creation. If this is the first song, the first note, the first well, system, whatever, persistent magic, is it also infinitely adaptable? Can it be anything?
Well,
Can it
that's
be the
terrifying.
invention? Well, right now it's being shut up.
At the moment, yeah, but I tried to get it to talk again and it's not talking. I asked it very politely and it didn't start talking again.
Well, I can sing to it again. Did you try? I know it's been a long time and we only got into some of your lessons.
I tried, it was awful, yes, and then I asked it politely, but nothing happened.
I can try again. I can see. But I'm wondering if we should wait until we have Nadi's terrarium to try to cloak it before it lights up again.
Well, apparently it cloaks itself.
It's true. Well,
Look, and he sort of unwraps it and goes to hand it to you. He's like, just look at it.
and Tolan will take it. When he handles it directly, does he feel anything?
As soon as it makes contact with your bare skin, it starts to warm up a little. And it starts that very low hum again.
Well,
That beat, that, I guess we're calling like a tune or a song. It's like, and
The
Averick just sort of actually scowls at it, like physically scowls at it as it starts. It's a very low hum. It's
Yeah.
not like loud. He's like, are you kidding me? Why are you, what? Like, again, look at it. It's like he's more talking to the rock than he's actually talking to you. So it shocks me, but it sings for you.
I'm sorry.
Fine. Right, and he sort of
Well,
rolls
remember,
his
you're the
eyes.
one who has magic to protect it.
So this thing, what do you think it is, a well?
The well, perhaps? The problem is, well, and especially if it's being obstinate with you,
Why has this rock got an attitude problem? If it's supposed to be ancient and wise, why is it doing this?
Ancient doesn't necessarily mean wise. Ancient can be primitive, can be just reactive.
Could be rude, as he sort of looks down at the rock again.
I'm sure it meant nothing by it.
Well, those things, whatever it was knocking on the window, it unnerved me. I didn't look.
I can't have you be in danger again.
I got Clyde, I'm fine.
You do have Clyde. And
I mean, the season tree hums. It moves, it does stuff. I mean, but it's never...
had an attitude.
I had an attitude, like, it was like literally, and it's like, but then I guess if it is more powerful,
Well,
I don't know
I
what
think
it
our first step is to try to get a common language.
Does anyone have that?
Tolan. We'll go back to some of his first lessons, some of the things that he was trying to teach Averick, and even though he no longer has magic himself, a language wasn't lost, it's just not empowered with the magic before. And he'll begin to sing one of the earliest songs he knows. Shani hare hoi kware ni farai trane tu re fa tre nu lonti fa ka frizare.
And it warms up a little bit more in your hands, and it sings it back, very much like it did before, copying it almost completely.
Okay. Then he'll start breaking the song down note by note, pretty much into concepts of very basic things. You know, the first measures being life and greeting, things to be able to convey concepts through song, much like how he was letting the monkey know. And note by note, he will try to start some kind of basic language with this stone. And I think for some of the more difficult concepts, he'll have to look to Averick and go, I know it's been a long time, and I know how difficult it is because of what happened last time you sang. But I can only get so far, my friend.
Okay.
And so,
And did you roll me an intellect check?
okay.
If, I'm going to tell you now, if you roll pretty high, you may be able to work out some of the words.
I'm just trying to think of if I've got anything I can throw at this. I mean, I've got archaeology and history. I've got research.
Mm-hmm.
I've got planner. I've also got focused, fixating on details.
Mhm.
Any of those I can add as a asset?
I would say archaeology. And
Okay.
what were the others? Sorry, what was the other one?
Focused, of course, is always.
Yes, that's always there.
Yeah. So at this tier, though, can I have 2 assets or only 1?
That's a good point.
Tell you what, we'll just do 1, as this is going to be difficult. Let's let the dice tell this one. It's a new day. He spent the morning in the garden. I am going to go ahead and spend.
You gained a spoon.
Yep, I did gain a spoon. I'm just going to roll it without putting in what difficulty is. And let's see. A 13.
And you applied an effort. Okay. Just working out in my head.
Yeah,
And
so 2 steps down. So it would be a difficult 6.
yeah. And combined with Averick, you sit there both for a while, and you can hear that Averick's voice is fairly weak and kind of broken and shaky, but gets more confident as it goes on. And the more you both communicate with this rock, you start to hear similarities. In fact, you hear some similarities in Clyde and other Inukwe that you've been through. It's that same undertone again. And some of them seem to form words. And you study this for a long time, sort of trying to recall back every single, almost Inukwe you've ever spoken to, running through everything in your head. And there are 2 words you think you can almost put together. Wake up. And we're going to hop over to Nadie and Charlie as you are on your way to Bruin Bindings. And the rain is pouring. There are lots of puddles. As I said, the riverways have sort of really started to overflow. And you can see the season tree now in its empty square. There's no one, there's no markets, there's no nothing. There are a few benches. You can see a soaking wet Matthias stood in front of a few people with this magic radiating out of his hands, with these images dancing in front of what seems to be like kids on like a school break or something like that, as it's later after lunch. And it's very similar to the story that you were shown at the first night of the night market, as it's every time you see this blue flame leave his hands, you see his hair flick back and it just dry very quickly before it being soaked again in water. And this little sort of ferret moving just like it did. And in this version, instead of a phoenix, Nadie, he seems to have taken your advice, and you see this huge blue dragon erupt upwards and skim through this crowd of children, with Sophia sort of jumping amongst it, almost becoming the face of the dragon. Do you just walk past on your way to Bruin Bindings?
Well, first of all, she's been jumping in every puddle.
Good.
I was going to say there's a lot of puddles.
Nutty's loving the water. In fact, she's not even fazed by the fact she's dripping wet. She's loving every last raindrop. So she's going to stop and watch the show, probably from a distance, like not right up with the rest of the kids, but just kind of sit there grinning and maybe, doing a couple enthusiastic hops when the dragon appears and, puddles splashing everywhere.
Charlie attempted to at least put her hood up, but it's just wet. It's fine. But she's just been laughing at Nadie jumping in all these puddles, not quite joining her, but is is a
What?
mood. And
It's easier. I mean, we're already getting wet. It's not like the rain's going to stop. We say, hey, rain cloud, stop raining on me. Might as well just enjoy it.
I guess, but my feet are warm. They're still dry.
Yeah, that's all it takes. Just keep the feet warm and everything's a-okay. Hey, did you see the dragon?
Yeah.
At that point, yeah, like not even like just waving to Matthias, like I saw it and thumbs up type of thing.
Yeah, you see like the story finish, and he gives you a wave and a thumbs up, and you can see he's steaming. Like, there's like a condensation like coming off of him from the mixing of the rain and the fire, as he's just literally stood there steaming, and he gives you a wave and a big grin.
I'll let him kind of know that we're going into. So she's motioning towards the door of like Bruin Bindings, like going in here.
And he just sort of gives you a wave, and he looks down at some of the kids that are still sort of gathering around him, and he sparks up this fire again. And you can see just retelling this story. You can hear sort of like squealing as if they're like, tell the same story again and again. Just over and over.
Again, mister.
Yeah. And you can walk past Broom Bindings, and if you look in the window, you can see Tolan and Averick with their back to you, crowded around a table. What do you do?
Not even look at Charlie. Well, that's not a normal sight.
I mean, there's no one else in there.
Yeah.
I look up. Does the sign still say open, or is it closed?
It says open, like it's not.
Okay.
It doesn't say it's closed.
Yeah.
Well,
It's kind
I
of
don't know about you, but yeah, I mean, I kind of wanted a nice cup of hot tea.
Mm.
Okay. In we go.
little bell rings.
And the bell rings, and Tolan, you see Averick jump upright, almost like a beanpole. Very quickly turns round and puts his hand behind his back, still covering this rock, and looks over at you, Nadee, and tries like, "Hello, yes, we're open," and is looking like side-eyeing Tolan, like. And Nadee, could you roll an intellect check for me, please?
Sure, not a
You don't
problem.
have to be.
A 3. Okay. With your abilities, Nadee, you can get a feel of the room, what emotions are being felt in the room right now. What is Tolan feeling right now?
Tolan is an interesting mix for Nadee. Like, there's a stronger sense of maybe a little touch of excitement and interest, but she's getting something that's familiar to her because of another person in her life. So she's actually like, her eyes are going to shift right to Tolan and almost narrow a little bit. And she's going to look him like directly in the eye, almost like she's just trying to get a better read, because there's something extra sort of residual.
And with Averick, you get sheer panic, nothing else. It's just pure panic as he looks at you both. And then you feel a very sort of calm, which is almost like coming from Clyde. And there's a happiness coming from somewhere.
So from Tolan, she would be getting first the panic of someone's, go from panic to the, oh, that's convenient, Nadee's here, to then him looking, does she have her earbuds in? To him going to panic again. Because if this thing is sphere picks up on people and you telegraph Nadee, I was looking for you.
Ta-da!
Yeah,
tea, I'll make tea. And Averick immediately just
Thank
starts like
you.
panicking and moving over towards.
English breakfast will be very nice, please.
Yep, like hurries over.
You see Tolan panicking with like every word that she says. If it could somehow be something that could attach itself to this stone.
I'm just kneeling down, hoping that Clyde comes over and will pet him.
He does sort of like pad over, and there's like a proper voodoof as he sort of just collapses on the ground by your feet.
And then, oh God, because he knows Charlie has come into his shop and
Zing.
has shocked these. And Tolan's just like, he just sits down.
He like Averick mover is like, I think we'll have a lock in, and just moves over to the door and starts closing it up and flips the close sign over.
Charlie, Nadi, I don't know. I need you to, he looks at Nadi, stay neutral to happy. And Charlie, don't, he does that.
Don't.
Now I'm pointedly ignoring you for the rest of the encounter.
Which actually at that point, he's probably okay with that. He's like, you do you. And Nadi, you don't happen to have that terrarium that you had with you the other night on you, do you?
Specifically no, because it's at my house.
Um,
So explain please what you're meaning by
You hear, I have tea! As he like Averick walks over in a panic and places all this tea just on the table. He's made a cup too many, but he is just placing it all on the table.
look, is okay if I move? I mean,
yeah. Okay, here we are. I don't know. We could all be in grave danger right this second.
oh, okay. All right, hold on 1 minute, and she'll slide into the chair across from you.
But don't think that you're in grave danger, because that would be even worse. So stay happy, even though we could all be in
Hey, Dolan.
danger.
Dolan.
The people from Valadris brought something with them.
Yeah, they like to bring lots of things with them.
Remember how I talked to you about ancient inventions that had people did not know what they were and forgot them? Forgot the idea that created the invention, the concept and the creation no longer matching.
Yes.
We have a blank slate here. So thoughts become important, perhaps, because it's not like anything I've ever experienced in it before. It's pure magic. It's older than the season tree. I've seen well springs before, like the season tree.
Okay.
This is like that, but older and oh no. Why? Oh.
Why what?
Why you? Not in a bad way. Why couldn't it be someone trained and lovely and wonderful and who knows how to do these things?
Because you're just an absolute angel yourself, Tolan.
Yes.
You know how to make a girl feel really special, you know that?
Well,
Listen, something is up. There's a lot happening, and that has happened.
Yes,
Yes.
this seems to be connecting a lot of it.
Okay, interesting thing comes into play, definitely affecting what's going on right now.
The shadows came to try to, I believe, tried to take it last
Okay,
night.
that's not good. Were you with it?
I was not. Averick was.
Well, that's concerning then.
Yes, it's very concerning to me as well.
Okay.
Here's the thing. Most well springs have a song, notes, tones, but that's just their resonance, their magic, the way that it affects the world. Like you can hear a note from far away. Some sound like an oboe or a bassoon, some like the season tree, and sound like a small quartet.
Hey, Dolan,
Sometimes an orchestra.
you're explaining what goes on in my head.
I am, aren't I?
You are very much so, yes. Of all this, I'm very aware of.
Well, this one talks back. And I was
thought you
trying...
said you got thing, not creature.
Right. And he pulls the napkin and the orb is sitting there. I've been trying to teach it to speak in the old ways that I know. But perhaps you. That's why perhaps you're even connected to all this. You're unguarded, untrained, and it is primitive in its what I've been able to determine.
Okay, so we're both primitive. Wonderful.
I kind of meant that in a good way, but not completely.
Yeah, I get what you mean. Look, I'm not classically trained. I get that. I have a knack.
Here's the thing. Have you seen the deacon in this morning?
No, I've not seen the deacon, but something tells me he has something to do with,
He will most likely find you soon and tell you who I am.
And who do you think you are?
You probably don't remember. 8 years ago, I destroyed part of this city, performing experiments on things just like this.
Okay.
It's the reason why Averick is missing a leg.
That's unfortunate.
Averick is sort of.
It is the reason why the Nakwe Baron died.
Now you make sense.
If you reach out to talk to this thing, this is orders of magnitude more powerful than what it's not even the same thing. It's comparing oranges to Great Danes. I don't know what this is, but if you reach out to it, I don't know what will happen. I don't know if you'll survive. I don't know if any of us will. Or it could sing you a nice little tune and we'll know more about it. It's mad at Averick because he told it to shut up. And he sort of gives a look to Averick.
He just rolls his eyes and goes back to where the counter is.
Well, okay, sounds like little Lord has a sense of humor, maybe.
I have no magic to try to help or shield you if something should go wrong. Has Charlie been listening?
Absolutely. There is one ear off, and she's just like making
Yeah.
faces at Clyde over here, like, wow, this sure is something. That's really interesting, but also like,
Yeah.
You don't say.
I have no magic anymore. I used to have ways to at least set up protections, shields, ways to make sure there wasn't collateral damage. It doesn't always work. But I have nothing for you other than it hasn't seemed to hurt me, and perhaps if things go wrong, Averick can tell it to stop again.
You're right. Well, what do you want me to sing to it, or?
Well, you talked about hopping in or listening, perhaps listening first, and then
Oh yeah, could
and then try to small, easy thoughts. We've been piecing together some of what it was saying in the language of Anakwe, and all we have so far is wake up. I don't know whether it's saying it wants to or whether it's telling us to.
Well, it's interesting. All right. Are you sure you're okay, though?
No, I'm not okay.
All right.
But I've been not okay before.
I know what not okay is. You need to take baby steps too right now.
All the things that the deacon is going to tell you about me, they are not lies.
Here's the thing. There is always the truth. The black and white. This is what happened. But if I am sensing half of what happened to you after this confrontation, what you add to your story makes a difference. Because you can take those black and white facts and you can add a different version, but I don't think it would line up with what I'm feeling from you.
Tolan drinks his tea.
I'll listen to what the deacon has to say. I'm not easily impressed with people who like to manipulate. Fair enough?
Fair enough.
Okay.
get up and wander over to actually get some tea. Just be like, you want her to tap into some ancient object that has its own mind when you believe she doesn't have her own barriers?
Tolan sort of looks at Charlie and says, I don't know what else to do. I do know that if she and it don't come to some sort of understanding, or I believe that if she and it don't come to some sort of an understanding, that just like her terrariums, her thoughts will imprint on it and could change. I mean, in the grand sense of things, could change magic itself. If this is in fact the first note, the true source, what feeds every other wellspring, what happens when that gets tainted? And by even touching it, by having it here, by serving it Earl Grey, we could have already messed everything up.
Well, you don't necessarily have to hop in quite yet. I mean...
But Charlie, you're right. I have no right to ask her to do that, and it is a risk that no one should take. Do you have a better idea?
We're gonna do.
Well, I have a question. What's rush? Why do you want to rush and figure it all out right now, right away?
Well, last night, one of those came, but from speaking with... from speaking with Paula the other night. There's more than one of those shadows. Last time it knocked. Might not just knock next time.
Okay, so it's drawing attention to itself.
Like a beacon. Until Averick got it to shut up.
So, she'll look over to Averick. So, would he have control over it then if he's telling it to shut up and he'll let it shuts up?
I'm a fan of that.
I don't think anyone has control over this.
Eddie, I'm not a teacher in any way. I have no right to teach anyone any kind of magic, but do you have at least a place your mind goes that it feels safe?
You're in it this morning.
I mean inside.
Yeah, I go there mentally.
If you think you can still keep things out, it shouldn't be there. It doesn't really matter what it looks like. A
So you
lot
mean
of doors for me.
like what I have to do when Papa comes home and eats at Bethwage.
You're not the noise.
I mean, yeah, I can do that. I can kind of keep it from, what is it, the invasion? I don't know if it's how you would normally have person learn how to control thoughts, but you know.
But you're not leaking all over the place.
Yeah.
No.
Maybe I just hold it and have my mind go blank. See what happens with that. You know, shake hands first before. Well, be polite, kind of be, you know, congenial.
No, I was thinking I can teach you a quick song. You said songs help you to, music helps you to block things out.
Yes, always.
Maybe if it's a song the Anak way, it will help block out whatever it tries to do.
Maybe Prima can help.
Dream always helps.
Just keep an extra eye on.
I can actually, well, I look to Averick.
And he's just at the moment going, like, you know, he's a bit panicked
Okay.
over stuff.
Perhaps we should just wait. But every day, it seems as though we've had a new incursion by these shadows.
And almost as you say that, for the first time to Dee and Charlie, you do hear this rock start to hum, to sing this sort of undertone, almost like a drum beat. And we're going to hop over to Paula. And Paula, you're in your library. And you're in there for a good couple of hours before you recognize Deacon Marks walking in, hands behind his back in his normal robes, the big sunburst on the front. And he looks to you and says, "Good afternoon. I trust you slept well. I was told you were looking for me."
Good afternoon, Deacon. Just the man I wanted to see. No, I didn't really sleep well. You see, that article was really disturbing.
I am sorry if it caused you distress.
Yeah, no, it caused me a great deal of distress. And there's a few other things that are causing me distress right now. And, you know, since you made it so clear to me that I can talk to you and that I can feel safe around you. So maybe we can talk about some of these things that's been going on.
Of course. I was actually seeking you out as well, but please let us chat first. What is it you
Yes.
wish to speak about?
Let's. Why don't we go to our little cozy spot upstairs?
And he pauses very briefly, like, if you wish. And he will follow you up these wrought iron stairs.
As we're walking up the stairs. As we walk up the stairs past one of the stained glass windows, and the rain is pitter-pattering. Lovely weather we're having.
Delightful.
I'll take the comfy chair this time.
Please.
So, first things first. Why can't Noah talk about what happened to him?
During the investigation, we do not want anything to leak out and into the press in case they create some story to scare the people of Kanan. It is best to
No.
have all your facts first.
Absolutely. We wouldn't want to scare the people of Karnan. So is the article you showed me last night equally as trustworthy as the article that was published this morning?
Of course. It was my and the church's official interview after the case.
Well, I'm noticing a distinct lack of mention of shadow people attacking magic users within Anakwe.
Of course,
And-
we don't want to scare the people, otherwise, we don't know what these things want. Then how do we know how to stop them?
Right. So what key information could have been lacking from the article you showed me last night about the Blightbringer?
This was after the trial. Everything needed was in there.
Noted. Why didn't you bring me in as a witness, or have me speak to the seers, or even ask? I mean, you asked Noah, apparently.
Miss Packer, I'm here at the university, the academy today, because I spoke to the dean, because I asked for you to have some time off to accompany me to the church to meet the seers. They're very interested in your opinion.
As they should be.
My thoughts exactly.
Well, having said that, I guess I can cut you a little slack.
They actually wish to speak with you today after their interview with the boy. If that is okay.
Yes, no, I mean I've been eager to have an audience with the seers. You should know that I'm not the only one who's been seeing these shadow people around town. A friend of mine, Aggie, she has a small bookstore. You might have.
You see him frown immediately. I know this woman.
Well, she's interesting. You know Aggie. She also was being followed, or has seen these shadow people, so you might want to bring her in too.
Interesting. Thank you. I value all the information you bring me. Is there anyone else I should be aware of to help them, to guide them in the right direction?
No, not that I can think of right now. All right, this is getting weird. And then she'll stand up and start walking down the stairs.
He'll follow. Not in a rush, but he'll follow. I'm afraid the interview you may be waiting for a few hours, and they may question you for an hour or so. It is a very serious matter. I know the boy, and he pulls a pocket watch out of his pocket, is due to go in the next hour. This may, I'm afraid, lead you to being out of hours. But the dean says it is okay. But if you have anyone you would like to notify, because you will not be You will be delayed.
Yeah, there's actually a number of people I should notify. Should I meet you at the church, or
I can meet you at the church, or if you wish me to wait here, then I will accompany you.
okay, why don't you wait here? I just have to make a few phone calls.
Of course. And he goes and takes just a seat at your desk, like just the other side.
And Paula will wander pretty far away from the deacon, like far enough away that he wouldn't
Oh
be
yeah,
able
you
to
could
hear.
go the other end of the library if he doesn't
Yeah.
seem too bothered.
And first, Paula will call her mom.
The phone rings, but no one picks up. It goes straight to voicemail. Almost like someone's like she's switched it off, like if she's working or something, as it is sort of coming towards the end of the day, but it's not quite the end of the working day yet.
And I'll leave a message. Hi, Mom. It's Paula. I am going to be out for a while. Probably not. You won't be able to contact me. I'm going in for an interview with the Seers about the recent occurrences. They're just going to make sure that I'm safe and you're safe. And I'm sorry we didn't get to catch up last night. I hope you had fun hanging out with the neighbors. And yeah, besides that, I'm good, and I'll see you later. And we'll hang up and then start dialing for Nadi.
Does Nadie have a phone yet? No, Nadie doesn't.
Oh, okay. So she definitely won't be dialing for Nadi. Which Paula knew, of course. Paula she probably actually like looked for Nadi in her contacts before realizing, oh my gosh, that girl hasn't gotten a phone yet. And then we'll instead call Charlie.
Mm-hmm. Charlie, do you pick up?
I think we're still in the middle of this conversation, but she'll like take out her phone and just be like, it's Paula. Hey.
Hey, Charlie. Yeah, I'm all right. Have you seen Nadie since last night?
She is sitting next to me, in fact.
Great. All right, so,
do you want to talk to her?
No, I want to talk to both of you, actually. Can you
look around the room and I'm just like,
can you put me on speaker?
Yep. Okay, we're listening.
Hey, Nadie.
Oh, hey, Paula. You're doing a little bit better this morning, I hope.
Yeah, I'm doing all right. Both of you guys need to be careful, specifically around Talon.
Something's in the air today, huh?
Yeah, I found out some frightening information about him last night. I don't know what's true. It might, but just to be safe, I think you should stay away from him.
Paula, hello.
Yeah,
and Paula will hang up the phone.
Well, that went beautifully.
I felt she should know I was listening.
No, I agree. It's fair to know, but oh, I bet there's a story there about last night.
I'm gonna text her and just be like, look, he We know. Separate message question mark.
I'll respond. Just be safe. Tell Nadi class is canceled tonight.
And Ola, is that all you, the only people you call?
I'll also text Noah. Hope your interview's going well. I'm heading over there now. See you soon.
Doesn't reply, but you can guess he's probably in the interview.
Yeah. And those will be the only calls that Paula makes.
And you can see the deacon over by your desk. He's not doing anything. He's literally sat very upright in this chair, just looking out one of the windows over Carnan.
Hey, I made all my calls. I want to say, I just feel like I should be straightforward, Deacon.
Of course, it's the best way to be.
You seem very... Listen, I understand some horrible things happened with Talon. And, you know, and it damaged a lot of people and a big chunk of Karnan. But sometimes people change, and I've only known him for a few days, but he seemed nice. And I know people that know him who are nice, and I don't know. I'm just saying maybe you should consider the possibility that he learned his lesson.
And the deacon looks at you. There's not really an expression on his face. I will think on that. But
Oh, okay. Yeah.
please walk with me. And he walks over to the umbrella stand and hands you his umbrella. We cannot keep the seers waiting.
Oh, you don't need to give me your umbrella. There's enough room under here for the two of us.
If you wish it, but I do not open it indoors. It is bad luck, I think they say.
Oh my gosh, Deacon Marks, I never thought of you as a superstitious type.
You don't think it's bad luck?
Not at all. And Paula will open it up right there in the library.
And there's a slight smile at the side of his mouth.
You know, I might actually just walk under that ladder too. And Paula's like backing up like towards the ladder. Like, I'm gonna do it, Deacon Marks.
He just watches you awkwardly. He doesn't actually say anything. He's just...
I'm gonna go under the ladder. Oh no, I might just step through this ladder unless someone stops me.
Miss Becker, we cannot keep the seers waiting.
And right before she would have walked through the ladder, she just like closes the umbrella and like kind of slumps her shoulders a little. Fine, let's go.
And you can step out of those huge doors of the academy, and it is pouring with rain. And you are both under this fairly large umbrella. And you walk through the streets. And there's not a lot of people out and about. there's some people splashing in puddles, there's people running with like things over their head to get in the shelter. And could you roll me an intellect check, please? Okay. As the deacon walks you through the streets in this rain, as you're huddled under this very plain umbrella, you notice Matthias catch your eye as he performs under the season tree and watches you walk through the streets. It's literally just his head turns to watch you go, the smile on his face with this magic in the air, it drops, and very quickly shakes his head and immediately goes back to performing this show. As the deacon, who also notices his brother, looks at him. You don't see the expression on his face, but it looks at him and continues to walk you past the season tree, very much to the other side of the city. And you've always seen the church from a distance. You can walk past it. It's not like in a intense location or anything, but it is huge. It may even be bigger than the academy. These huge spires that reach up into the sky, this huge domed roof, all made of stone, none of it metal. And there are this expansive sort of staircase that leads up to it. A huge golden sun adorns over the top of this huge archway. Almost looks like it's painted like gold leaf, blue and reds in the background, as he starts to walk you up the steps. And these doors, as much as you found the academy doors to be amazing, like they're tall, they're long, whereas this is a very wide door. And you walk up and the doors open into this massive room. So big, you almost think you have to squint to see the end of it. And you realize that there's a domed ceiling between each panel, between each sort of archway is glass. And the sound of the rain in here is intense. And you see others walking around in their robes. You see quite a few people. They look at Deacon Marks as he greets them with like a very half smile. Before he enters, he takes the umbrella down, shakes it, and closes it. Please, follow me. And his footsteps echo through this hall. Is there anything you'd like to do?
This is a beautiful place of work. I can't even imagine coming here every day.
It is beautiful indeed. And you actually see for the first time on his face almost like it's not a smile, it's like a serene look as he looks up at this building. It is truly a magnificent gift to the gods.
I have to start coming up with reasons to come here more often. I mean, and the acoustics are great.
And he stops and again looks at you. They are. Please. And he sort of guides you off towards the side, and you can see just how big this is. Almost like one wing, and you see door after doorway leading off of this huge very grand sort of, I guess you could call it a hall. And there are so many rooms and so many stairs. It's almost as confusing as the academy, but it's very structured. And he pauses before he enters the first door. I'm afraid I will have to take your phone from here.
Okay. Is there a reason?
They do not like to mix with technology.
Okay. It's an interesting take, but you know, whatever needs to happen, and Paula will give the deacon her phone.
Thank you. And he just puts it on a tray that's sort of being held by a statue just outside. And you recognize Noah's phone in there as well. And your phone vibrates briefly as if you've received a message.
Oh, can I just... She'll reach back for the phone.
It's a message from your mum. Where are you?
Is it all right if I respond to this? Just like this one message.
Please, do.
Seeing the Seers.
And he holds his hand out for the phone again.
For good that time.
Thank you. And he sort of snaps it shut, puts it on the tray. Please, with me. And he walks through the door and holds it open for you.
Thank you. And
could you roll an intellect check for me, please?
Ooh.
As you start to walk up the stairs, these are very grand stairs, and the walls are lined with paintings. Paintings of robed figures, some of them holding the sun, like a setting or a rising sun, and it's all very, it covers the ceiling and the walls and everything. Even the stairs themselves are painted in sort of a blue, serene sky as you walk up. And as he takes you up to the very top of the doors, in that metal tray outside, you hear your phone buzz one more time as he closes the door behind you. And we're going to hop back over to Tom and Nadine and Charlie as you're stood around as Paula is hung up on you. And there's a brief moment of quiet. And you notice Clyde stops making noises. He stops snuffling. He stops it's because he was always doing like a snore before, as he was snoozing. And you all just hear the song from this rock stop. And everything goes silent.
You tell her to shut up that time?
She's way too quiet.
I don't. I look to Averick.
Averick turns the lights off and goes over and locks the front of the door and shakes his head, and you can see he's in a panic. And passing the window as this storm cloud comes over, is one of these shadow people. And they stalk past the window. They're not looking in the window. And it's very upright, but in a weird sort of staggering way, they start to shift and move past the window. And the stone has just gone quiet. It's gone dead.
I throw like a napkin or a cloth or just something over it so it's not just sitting out.
And you see its nose twitch again and again as Clyde rises, just sort of looking, and Averick quickly pulls him back down again. But you notice from the motion of Clyde getting up, 2 hands slam against the glass as the nose starts sniffing around the sign. It walks over to the door handle, and it's almost in a very slow motion way. It reaches out for the door handle, tries to bend it slowly, up and down. It rattles the door when it can't open it.
Can I try something?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's going to work, but Tolan grabbed that little thing he was trying to turn into a taser.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, it's a capacitor. At this point, it's just a charged capacitor. Can I slam it against the doorknob to shock the shadow on the other side?
Yes.
That the doorknob will conduct the electricity.
Roll a speed check to do it quickly as it's still holding on.
Okay.
My roll 20 doesn't seem to be loading. Sorry, what did you roll?
No, I haven't rolled yet. I'm going to use my success.
Ooh. And almost in perfect time, you can move very slowly towards this door. It's like
I want to creep in.
It can't hear you. It can't see you.
Yeah.
In
Since
fact,
I don't have a...
it's got its face pressed up against the glass, and you can see the steam coming off of its nose as it sniffs in the direction where Clyde is.
Yeah, Tolan, seeing it, taking an interest in Clyde, begins to walk over. He also looks and sees, whether he sees them visible or not, sees Prima and Al, and realizes he has the stone and 3 Inakwe in here. And thinking from even what Paula said that he might be invisible, but still very quietly creeps over and then just pushes this capacitor up to the door knob as it's rattling on it.
And as you do, there is that shock, and the rest of you can hear like this crack, almost like a crack of lightning, as this person, this figure, launches itself back. It's almost like stuck to the door handle briefly, and it's like you see this light, this electricity shoot up the figure, and for a brief second it's lit up and you see a very human face, a very human body, but there's something wrong with it, but it's gone too quickly for you to see as it backs off away from the light and staggers back. Now, because of that, I'm going to offer you a GM intrusion.
Well, I'll take it.
You do this. It staggers back, and you saw that the face briefly, with its not warped. That's the wrong thing. It's almost like you just felt there was something wrong with it in that split second of light that you got to glimpse at it. And Averick is sort of holding Clyde to him as he's whimpering a little bit.
Oh wait, no, I don't want any more. I don't want any more.
And there's a pause. And it starts to sniff the air again. it backs away from Bruin Bindings. It doesn't take its eye off of this shop window, nor does Averick, nor does Clyde. Everyone's just watching it go as it sniffs the air again and again and more intensely now. And you see another one appear from the side. And then you hear footsteps running. As there is a flash of red. As a small girl with blonde hair tears past. As their noses move. And they set off, darting in her direction. And you hear her yell. And that is where we leave.
No! Oh no! Not Tova.
I assume you were offering it to me. I just sort of jumped in like I would accept it because I assumed.
Yeah. No, I was offering it to you.
And
when
I'll
I
give.
say after Tuba, I didn't mean they grabbed her. I mean
Gotcha.
they ran after.
Yeah. And I'll give the XP to Nadi.
Well, thank you.
So.
Hi.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for all the donations. Again, the trinkets are being worked in. There's a lot more to come. I don't want to just drop them in like, oh, you trip over something, because I want to give it more meaning to the story. Otherwise, we do a rerun of this every Friday, so please come and join us. We're normally in chat, we have snacks, we have coffee, and we relive it again for the second time this week. Also, please check out all of the links that are coming up in chat right now. A huge thank you to wonderful sponsors and advertising the t-shirt there. Huge thank you to Burning the Storm and also Mage Hand Press. Otherwise, we would love to hear what you think about this campaign in the Discord and what your favourite bits are. If there's a favourite bit. Other than that, thank you so much, and we'll see you on Friday and then again on Monday. Keep evoking emotions, and we'll see you later. Bye.